Welcome to Fintech Focus TV. I'm joined today by Adam Toms. He's the CEO of OpenFin Europe. He's here today to share their journey. It's a big journey and one of fast-paced innovation. It's the second time you've been on. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for being here. So just for those who didn't watch the first time, could you tell us who is OpenFin?
OpenFin is an OS, an operating system technology. The best way to think about this is iOS from Apple and also the Google operating systems that exist on mobile devices. OpenFin is providing a very specialized OS layer that sits on financial services desktops and brings a lot of the benefits we enjoy on mobile devices to transform applications on the desktop.
Yeah, great. Well, that sounds quite unique in today's disruptive marketplace. What else would you say is quite unique about you?
I think, for us really, the journey is thinking about how people are modernizing their technology stack. They're moving, there's a clear trend towards web technology. Web very often is, people think about web browsers. Web browsers are fantastic for many different things, but they can also lose user experience, particularly in, for desktop operators. People who sit in front of their desktop and using applications in a very heavy way, a browser can be quite restrictive. So OpenFin really powers a very different user experience on a desktop with much more kind of native windowing.
And we can all relate to that, the user experience, and I know that we're quite demanding as users. So OpenFin, you're a friend of our family. We've put you in our magazine, we've had you on videos before, this will go out as a podcast as well. We actually named you as one of our Founders 50 in our last magazine, and so we wanted to bring you back on to tell us about the journey of the past year and the sort of news and initiatives that you've been introducing over the past year, because it's quite exciting times.
Yeah, great, and thank you. It's a privilege to be on that list of 50. So for OpenFin over last year, what's changed? It was really interesting. I was looking back at the video from last year, just before I came here today, and it's been quite a transformative journey. We've grown in the number of desktops that the OpenFin environment sits on, so it's now up to coming up close to 200,000 desktops, powering in excess of 1,000 applications across the industry.
Wow.
And reaches over 1,500 unique firms. So I think we've really hit quite a critical mass for particularly the capital markets area.
Great.
And I think that was definitely well recognised when we closed our Series C funding this year, which Wells Fargo led with equal participation from Barclays, and the great news also that our existing investors, including JP Morgan and Bain Capital and many others, also continue to participate in our journey.
Well, it's definitely an exciting time for you, but what would you say about the industry in general?
Yeah, for the industry, I think, this time last year, people were just kind of getting over MiFID II here in Europe and thinking about and digesting that regulation. Yeah. I think the change over the last 12 months has really been people thinking about, what is innovation, and also how do they modernize their organization and future-proof it. Yeah. And a lot of that has meant that people have been reviewing their technology stacks, number one, and really thinking about how they get rid of that tech debt. They move to more modern technologies, which should hopefully result in a lower operating cost for them going forward, but also how do they differentiate themselves with customers? And right now we're seeing a big drive around making sure that individuals are empowered with information. Yeah. We talk a lot in the industry right now about visualization of data and so on. So how do we make users more informed? How do we make them more productive? And crucially in this kind of regulated world of financial services, how do we make users safer on the desktop? Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. You incorporate so much in that. Like you've mentioned tech debt, you've mentioned safety, you've mentioned speed, you've mentioned innovation, users being able to use things much more easily. You're definitely ticking a lot of the boxes of things that I hear about day in, day out when I go and meet all of these clients. What would you say is the future for OpenFin?
Yeah, I think what's really interesting about that journey, and as you mentioned well, there's a real diversification to how you can use OpenFin software. And over the last 12 months, we've seen use cases expand aggressively out from the not just front office users, sales, trading, research, portfolio managers and the likes, but through to operations areas, middle office, risk teams, compliance teams also. So there are many applications of or or ways you can apply the OpenFin technology inside firms. And really going forward, it's about completing that journey of different what we call persona types, different business areas, as well as thinking about the other adjacent sectors or verticals within financial services. So we've been very focused on capital markets. With over 80 plus customers. Now we're really thinking about, okay, so how do we apply this to wealth management? How do we apply this to insurance? And we're pleased to report, and we'll be sharing some really exciting news about some new client signings shortly.
So it sounds like you've built a really big ecosystem. Who's been joining recently?
Yeah, so we're really pleased to report that a number of large financial services vendors have joined the OpenFin ecosystem. Most recently, last week, we announced that Axioma, the market leader in portfolio risk and performance analytics, is now using OpenFin. They've released their first product on OpenFin and planning to launch another 2 later in the year. We've also seen people like FlexTrade in the EMS space, KRM22 in the compliance surveillance space, and also actually customers who signed last year now talking very publicly about their use of OpenFin. So very large asset managers like AllianceBernstein and Wellington, who have been sharing the insights as to how they're modernising their portfolio management processes, trading processes, and their technology that supports that, and how OpenFin is playing a central role. Wow,
so it just sounds like you're playing an essential role in so many different areas within the marketplace and helping them in so many different ways. If I'm watching this today and I want to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
Yeah, so for OpenFin, we have a very large community. We really want to to be very inclusive, open to all. As I said last year in our message, we believe in being a highly collaborative platform to allow providers to collaborate together.
Nice.
And people can follow us on LinkedIn. Obviously, our Twitter feed is super active. OpenFin has a really big following around events, so look out for our meetups, and also our FinJS conference series, which is has some great presenters, including a lot of our application development partners, like Adaptive, Scott Logic, and others, as well as industry leaders like Salesforce. And even big banks participating and really sharing their stories about what are they doing with modern technology practices, how are they implementing digital transformation inside their organisations. So lots of events for people to attend. Think about how they play into that ecosystem and what they could provide to everybody else. Yeah, great. So please do follow the tags that I put underneath this video, because we'll make it really easy for people to get to those events and get in contact with you and learn more about OpenFin. Last question, there's an initiative for FinTech early stages. Tell us a bit about that. Yeah, so OpenFin's always operated 2 different licenses, a free community license and an enterprise license.
Nice.
Obviously, most customers need the enterprise license given the additional functionality and support services and so on that come with that. But it was also clear to us that maybe the starting price for that enterprise license was holding some people back. So we were a startup once ourselves. We're now 9 years into our journey and and making great progress. For us to give something back, we launched a startup pricing, which essentially gives firms who are below a certain funding level and also revenue level to have access to a full enterprise license for a much more reduced cost. Why is this important? It's fantastic that we have the largest banks, asset managers and financial services vendors on the OpenFin platform and in the ecosystem. It is equally important to us that fintechs are building on OpenFin OS from day one, and we're going to accelerate their journey to help them get their product adopted much more rapidly and much more integrated into people's workflows on the desktops.
Well, that sounds amazing. So if you want an accelerated journey in your fintech startup, you have got to get in touch. Innovation, it's fast-paced, it's safe, it's a great platform. Thank you very much for joining us today, Adam.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.